Accordingly, the MPC unanimously voted to reduce the policy repo rate by 25 basis points to 6%. Moreover, it also decided to change the stance from neutral to accommodative.
The Reserve Bank governor actually made three very important communications to the market. One, he cut the repo rate, the rate at which banks borrow from one another for 1 day, or the rate at which they may borrow from the Reserve Bank. That has been cut from 6.25% to 6%. Now, many of the bank loans are linked to this repo rate. So, all our lending rates, for instance, if you have a home loan or a corporate loan, those loan rates will come down because they are linked to the repo rate. That's the first big thing he has announced. The second thing he has announced is that I'm changing my stance from neutral to accommodative. That is jargon. Basically, what it means is that he is more likely, more inclined to cut rates in the future, and there is no chance at all that he is going to hike rates in the immediate future. That again is an indication that more rate cuts are coming. And finally, he said that he is expecting the growth to be slower than he earlier expected, and inflation also to be lower than he earlier expected. The earlier expectation of growth was 6.7, he has brought it down to 6.5. Most economists on the street are at 6 to 6.2%, so they may accuse the RBI of still being too optimistic on growth, but the point is they have brought it down. The second thing they've done is bringing inflation down. The forecast for the full year was 4.2%. He says now it will be 4%, and the way they have forecast every quarter, it looks like for the remainder of this year, Q1, Q2, Q3, inflation is going, consumer price inflation, CPI, is going to remain below the 4% mark. Now, all these together are read by the market as dovish. Now, what do we mean by dovish? Another jargon, which means that the cost of loans, the cost of money, is more likely to come down than go up. So, the expectation now in the market is interest rates will come down, the repo rate will come down from 6 to 5.75 in the June policy and further down to 5.5 in the August policy, and there are some who believe that by October he may even bring it down to 5.25, which means there is a very good chance of our home loans going down. That's the positive. The negative is that our deposits will start earning less. So beware. Those of you who want to save, please go into your FDs right now, because they are likely to get cheaper if you want to save through FDs. The other smaller announcements have been that he is going to give the same rules that govern gold loans for banks and NBFCs. Right now, NBFC rules are a little easier, so chances are those could get tightened, and in that case, the market will see it as a bit negative. Already we have seen gold loan stocks falling a bit. The last important announcement he made is that he has made co-lending easier. Co-lending is when a bank lends with the help of an NBFC. So they provide the money and the NBFCs go and identify customers because they are spread out in more remote areas. They have fewer costs and therefore can cycle up to the nearest village. That's called co-lending. The money comes from the bank and the NBFC lends it. Both of them are equally responsible. That was only allowed between a bank and an NBFC for priority sector loans, right? For farm loans and microfinance loans, for small ticket home loans. Now the governor is saying that they have expanded it to all categories of loans and to all entities. That is, an NBFC perhaps can co-lend with another NBFC. This is seen as a very good step to disseminate credit more widely, and that could be a positive for many NBFCs and even banks for that matter. All told, a dovish policy. It means loans are going to come down, but beware, all of you who have deposits, lock yourself into high-paying FDs. They may not last very long.